Imagine a world with no cars, no morning commute, no road trips, no traffic, no freedom to simply go wherever you want, whenever you want. For all of human history, that was the world. And then, in a small workshop in Mannheim, Germany, a quiet and obsessive engineer changed everything. His name was Karl Benz, and in 1885, he built something the world had never seen before. It had 3 wheels, a single-cylinder engine, a top speed of roughly 8 miles per hour. It rattled, it smoked. It was difficult to steer, and on its very first public demonstration, Karl Benz drove it straight into a wall. It was not impressive. Not yet. But what Karl Benz had built, and what he would patent on the 29th of January 1886, was the first true automobile in history. Not a carriage with an engine bolted on. Not a steam-powered novelty. A machine designed from the ground up to move itself, powered by an internal combustion engine of his own creation. He called it the Benz Patent-Motorwagen, patent number 37435, the birth certificate of the modern car. Karl had spent years getting to this moment. He was born in 1844, the son of a locomotive driver who died when Karl was just 2 years old. Raised by a mother determined to give her son an education, Karl studied mechanical engineering in Karlsruhe and spent his early career building engines, always convinced that the future lay not in steam, but in the controlled explosion of gas. By 1872, he had married a woman named Bertha. And here is where the story gets far more interesting than most history books let on. Bertha was not simply Karl's wife, she was his financial backer, his partner, and quite possibly the reason the automobile exists at all. Before they were even married, she used her own dowry, her personal inheritance, to keep Karl's struggling business alive. She wound wire coils alongside him late into the night. She believed in the machine when almost no one else did. And when Karl finally built the Motorwagen, it was Bertha who understood what it needed most. Not more engineering, publicity. Karl was a genius who couldn't sell. He was hesitant, cautious, reluctant to let the machine be seen until it was perfect. The Motorwagen sat largely unused, known to almost no one, and meanwhile, the family was running out of money. So on the morning of the 5th of August, 1888, Bertha made a decision. She quietly woke her 2 teenage sons, Eugen and Richard, and told them they were going on a trip. She left a note on the kitchen table for her still sleeping husband, saying she was going to visit her mother in the town of Pforzheim. What the note did not mention was that she was taking the automobile, without Karl's knowledge, without official permission, without a map. She and her boys pushed the Motorwagen out of the workshop in the dark, so the engine noise wouldn't wake Karl, and once they were far enough down the road, she fired it up and drove into history. The journey from Mannheim to Pforzheim was roughly 60 miles, on unpaved roads, in a vehicle with no fuel gauge, no real brakes to speak of, and an engine that needed to be constantly cooled with water drawn from roadside streams. The problems came one after another. The fuel line blocked. Bertha cleared it with a hairpin. An ignition wire failed. She wrapped her garter around it as insulation. The drive chain broke. A blacksmith in Bruxelles fixed it. When the wooden brake shoes wore out completely, she found a cobbler and asked him to line them with leather. In doing so, she invented the brake pad. And when the fuel ran out, she stopped at a pharmacy in the small town of Wiesloch and bought 3 liters of Ligroin, a solvent that happened to work as fuel. That pharmacy still stands today. It is considered the world's first petrol station. After more than 12 hours on the road, Bertha and her sons arrived in Pforzheim. She sent her husband a telegram to let him know they had made it. Karl Benz read that telegram and realized 2 things. His machine worked, and his wife had just done what he never could. She had shown the world. The story spread. Orders began to come in. The Motorwagen went into production and became the first commercially available automobile in history. About 25 were built before 1893. From that small run of fragile 3-wheelers, an entire industry was born. Karl Benz went on to found the company that would eventually merge with Gottlieb Daimler's firm in 1926, giving the world a name that still means something today. Mercedes-Benz, but none of it begins without that morning in Mannheim, without a man who refused to give up on an impossible idea, and without the woman who refused to let the world ignore it. The car had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same. Next time on the Car Chronicles, we move from 3 wheels to 4 and meet the machine that took Karl Benz's idea and turned it into something that could actually climb a hill. The Benz Velo, the world's first production car. That's next.